Today we will be discussing some of the mysterious aspects of God's sacred name. But first we need to lay down some important groundwork. In Exodus chapter 3 verse 10, we read the account of Moses being sent forth by God to deliver the children of Israel out of Egyptian captivity. When Moses asked God the name of the God he should tell the people who sent him, God gives Moses a rather mysterious answer. In Exodus 3:14, he tells him, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shall you say unto the children of Israel, I am has sent me unto you. The I am part of this name is derived from the Hebrew verb hayah, Strong's number 1961, shown here, which means to exist, to be, or to become. In verse 15, God goes on to give Moses further details about this name. And God went on to say to Moses, Say to the children of Israel, The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my sign to all generations. But the Lord is just a title and not actually God's name. Other more accurate translations of the Bible render God's name Jehovah or Yahweh instead of the Lord. Jehovah and Yahweh are both attempts to transliterate the actual Hebrew name shown here, which are the letters Yod-He, Vav-He, or in English YHWH, Strong's number 3068. These four Hebrew letters are also known as the Tetragrammaton in English. The basic meaning of the Tetragrammaton is eternal, everlasting one. The Greek Septuagint translation of Exodus chapter 3 verse 14 shown here is quite revealing. God's Greek name is displayed in red on the top right. The Brenton English translation of the Septuagint Greek is displayed underneath the Septuagint. And it reads, And God spoke to Moses, saying, I am the being. And he said, Thus shall you say to the children of Israel, The being has sent me to you. The part of God's name outlined in red and shown here is just the definite article the, Strong's number 3588, which is pronounced H-O, ho. The being part of the name and the heart of the name shown here in red is a bit more cryptic. It is a word formed from the two Greek letters omega, nu, and spelled O-N in English. This word is derived from the Greek verb meaning to be or to exist, and in the English, in the New Testament, Greek has its own Strong's number, which is Strong's number 5607. It is frequently translated being or be in the Greek New Testament. We are now going to dive into some of the mysterious aspects of God's holy name, which we sometimes find hidden in the scripture. In Proverbs chapter 25, verse 2, we get a hint of this. From the G&T translation, we read, We honor God for what he conceals. We honor kings for what they explain. And the contemporary English version of the same verse reads, God is praised or honored for being mysterious. Rulers are praised for explaining mysteries. As already shown, God's name, his holy name, in Greek is H-O-O-N and literally means the being. Now, if we join these two parts of God's name, H-O-O-N, together, by contracting them into one syllable the way we normally speak, the name H-O-O-N becomes H'-O-N or simply H-O-N, which in fact is the first syllable in the word honor. When we do this, it may help us better understand a mysterious statement made by Jesus having to do with God's sacred name, which we will discuss shortly. In light of this, in Matthew chapter 6, verse 9, Jesus tells us to pray this way. If you look deeply into this verse, you may see a hidden wordplay which God may be using to conceal his sacred name. Here's another example of this happening from the Contemporary English Version translation of Exodus chapter 3, verse 14. See if you can catch the wordplay. God said to Moses, I am the eternal God, so tell them that the Lord, whose name is I am, has sent you. This is my name forever, and it is the name that people must use from now on. Did you catch the wordplay in this translation? God's mysterious name is clearly on display in this verse to anyone who has eyes to see and ears to hear it. Carrying this study on to John chapter 17, verse 12, Jesus declared, And now I am no more in the world, but these are in the world, and I come to thee, Holy Father. Keep through thine own name those whom thou hast given me, that they may be one as we are. As previously explained, the fundamental meaning of God's holy name is based on the verb to be in all its tenses, present, past, and future. In the previous verse, God uses the English word OWN in an obvious wordplay that mimics the sound of the Greek word ON, which means be or being, and which is, in essence, God's holy name on display. Moving on to a related example, in John chapter 5, verses 43 through 44, Jesus proclaimed, I am come in my Father's name, and ye receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye will receive. How can ye believe, which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that cometh from God only? In these verses, Jesus seems to be treading in very deep, mysterious water. By making the declaration, I am come in my Father's name, and then immediately declaring they do not receive him, Jesus seems to be implying they do not receive the honor of God's sacred name, which only comes by receiving and believing the one bringing that honorable name, that is, Jesus, the great I am. In verse 44, Jesus is implying they do not believe him. In light of this, in John chapter 1, verse 11 through 12, it states, He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name. Here again we see a pun. God's Greek name is on display in this verse. Furthermore, the honor Jesus speaks about in John chapter 5 that they do not receive may be a veiled reference to God's Greek name, H-O-O-N, or H-O-N, being concealed within the English word H-O-N-O-R, honor. If we look deeply into the underlining meaning of Proverbs 25:2 again, we can see that it fits into the context of what Jesus was saying. We honor God for what he conceals. We honor kings for what they explain. In the CEV translation of the same verse, God is praised or honored for being mysterious. Rulers are praised for explaining mysteries. With that, we conclude this brief introduction to God's mysterious name.